Nothing's off limits with this duo. It's father and daughter, Don and Cher. And join the club if you're a chattermouth.
Hey y'all, it's Cher and
Dawn.
And welcome back to the Chattermouth Podcast. We're so excited to be here.
Yes.
What?
I have to tell you something.
I was like, what?
Very proud of you.
What?
Because I read what you wrote on Instagram back to somebody that said to you, you're older now. Why do you still call your mom mommy? And you were so great with your answer.
Well, it's true. Okay, yeah, someone said that to me regarding one of our last podcasts because I always call you mommy. But it's true. Just because I got older doesn't mean that your name changed. Your name to me has always been mommy. Your name has never been Dawn. It's never been mom. It's always been you call me mommy. So just because I got older doesn't mean all of a sudden you changed your name to me. Like, that's how I know you, you know? So,
but you know what I love mostly? That
What?
you actually spoke up and said your feelings instead of keeping it in. I'm more of a keeper-inner, and then I just tell you it's how I feel.
Interesting.
But I just respected that you actually said what was on your mind.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so crazy with social media now. People like think they can say whatever they want to you because they're behind a screen. And it's sad. Like people can say such terrible things sometimes. I mean, this one wasn't terrible, but I was just correcting them. Like, this is your name in my mind, you know?
It was just picking.
Yeah, it was picking, which I kind of get it. Like, it does sound a little weird that I still call you mommy, but that's just your name, you know? Oh, that's my doggy. He's a little.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's sad because your dog's on heart medicine and he's old now and he's not doing so well. But you're doing so great keeping him okay. You know?
He's on. Yeah, you'll hear him coughing. He's with us. He's 11 years old and he was diagnosed with heart failure. So he's on so many medications now. Yeah. So he's just hanging out. He's just sweetheart. I've had it. He's the best. Yeah. I wanted a Maltese my whole life, and Jared finally got him for me. I remember when we first after we got engaged, he got us a Bear. His name is our dog.
It's so funny because the dog is like so small and it's called Bear.
Because he's like a teddy bear. Well, actually, he was supposed to be like a teacup, that like a dog that I could always keep in my purse with me. Yes. But
like
he
Clueless.
kept like Clueless. That's what I always
wanted.
But then he just kept growing. Now he's just like too big.
Yes.
You know what's so funny about the movie Clueless? Did you ever realize like my name is Cher from Clueless and you're Dawn? And we have a cousin named Amber. And Cher and Dawn are best friends in Clueless. Isn't that weird?
It is
That
weird.
was like my favorite show growing up. That and I loved that movie
was so
growing
good.
up.
I want to get into something else. I can't seem to learn gibberish.
Oh my goodness.
You're
so funny.
Fast on it and so good. And actually, I'm embarrassed because Belle understands it and I still don't understand it.
I have gone viral on TikTok for teaching people gibberish. It is so random. But I remember when I was like 7 years old, one of your friends taught me and my best friend at the time how to speak gibberish. And we used to talk gibberish to all of our friends, like in front of all of our friends, so nobody else can understand what we were saying. It was like our own secret language, just the two of us.
I love it.
And nobody can understand us. And it's actually it's so helpful. So I taught my daughter Belle, who is only 4 years old, how to speak gibberish. And it's actually become very helpful for us because she understands it. And so we were actually walking in a store one day and there was this weird person kind of following us. And I said to her in gibberish, like I was like, first I said, come on, Belle, like, let's go over here. She's like, why? I want to keep looking here. I was like, Belle, come on. And she kind of was like, why? So I just said to her in gibberish, like, but a gal that gets gonna go, or a guy and a gal that a gear gets to go, what a gear put a girl it again. And that's like, Belle, let's go right now. There's a weird person. And she like stopped what she was doing and she came and she was able to understand me, and no one around us was able to understand what we were saying.
That's amazing. You know, you have your own private language, but how do you do it? Can you kind of explain it?
It's also it's good and bad to teach your kid. I think it's really good to teach your kid because then, you know, no one else will know what you're saying. You're able to talk to your child in case there's an emergency, things like that. But before I taught Belle, I used to speak with my husband, Jared, in gibberish in front of Belle. If there was ever something we didn't want her to understand, we would speak it together and we would have our own like secret language and she wouldn't get it. But now she understands. So if there's ever something I need to say in front of my daughter, I like can't speak gibberish. I'm trying to like figure out what else to do. I'm like spelling things out like.
It's so interesting.
So
a
funny.
lot of grandparents do that spoke another language.
Yes.
Like my father's parents spoke Russian fluently.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. And when they wanted to say something without my father knowing about it, they would say it in Russian.
Yeah.
But my father never got to learn the language. So I think it's nicer to let her learn the gibberish.
Yes. Well, people on TikTok are asking me, why don't you just teach your daughter another language? Like, why are you teaching her gibberish? That's so useless. And in my head, I'm like, of course, I wish I spoke another language that I could teach my daughter a second language, but I don't know anything but gibberish. So I'm teaching my daughter gibberish.
Better gibberish than nothing else.
Right, exactly. And it's actually really great that she's only 4 and she's able to understand gibberish, which you have to understand syllables and vowels. So
you know
really
what?
good.
I find that really hard because I don't know how you speak it so quickly when you have to like.
It comes natural.
I don't
Okay, so
understand.
Okay, I'm going to teach you right now how to speak gibberish. So listen up. All you have to do is put itaga between the syllables, but in front of the A-E-I-O-U sound. So for example, we are on a podcast. So podcast would be itaga in front of the so pitagod, kitagast, because in front of the A and the O sounds. So itaga, pitagod, kitagast.
Kitagast?
And chattermouth would be chitaga, titiger, mitagouth. And it sounds really fast because you're putting itaga between the words. But once you get it, like you just truly understand it. And it's the best. So definitely keep practicing.
I'm 64, still trying to get it.
But my 4-year-old got it. So she can do it.
That's
You can
true.
too.
That's true.
But yeah, just itaga between the syllables in front of the A-E-I-O-U sound. So mom would be mitagam. So itaga in front of the and then you got to get this, Mom, so we can have our own.
will.
We have our own handshake. Like, ready?
Yes.
Oops, now I'm messing things up. But now we need our own language.
I would love it.
But a lot of people get it confused with Pig Latin. And Pig Latin,
yeah. What's the
everyone's like, it's
difference?
Pig Latin. You're speaking Pig Latin. No, gibberish is not Pig Latin. Pig Latin is when you take like Cher, C-H-E-R, and you put the C at the end. So her K, and you put A-Y there. But this is gibberish. So that's something different. So itaga between syllables in front of the A-I-O-U sound. And it's super easy once you start getting it. It'll just come fluently to you. So everyone practice, and then let's have like a chattermouth meetup where we all just speak in gibberish.
I love it. I love it. Sounds great.
I feel like I just like messed up everything on here, but okay. Yes. So
I wanted to say the latest thing that's happening these days on TLC. Did you hear about the new show that's coming out? The Baldwin's family show.
So interesting.
About his life and his family. He has
Yes.
7 children.
It's so interesting to me because he's such like an
Yes.
actor. I think of him as an actor. I don't
Yes,
think of
and
him
now
as like
he's-
a reality TV
Right.
guy.
And now he's going to do a reality show with his family. Just his family.
It's so interesting. I'm wondering if
Yes.
he wants to be more of like the Kardashians or something. His family, he like wants his family to be like Kardashian style. Because why would someone who's so famous as an actor want to go on like, I don't know, as a reality family? It's just strange to me. Usually you want to kind of shield
Right.
your kids from that life. I don't know.
I think this is the first time he's actually showing all his children and the names and the ages
So
of them.
interesting. And like, yeah, I don't know. I find that so, and he's older now, isn't he?
He's 66.
Wow.
And
How old
his
is-
wife is 40.
Wow. What's his
And they
youngest
have-
child?
The youngest is 19 months, and the
Wow.
oldest is 10.
Wow.
Yes. But not the oldest is 10. He does have another daughter from his previous marriage to Kim Basinger, and she's 28.
And she's 28. Okay.
Yes.
But still, wow. Because like
Yeah.
that's like older than you first having an 18-month-old. Like right
Yes.
now you love being a grandparent because you can play and spoil all day, and then drop her off and you can go home and relax. But imagine if that was like all the time with so many children too.
I know, it's exhausting.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has help, but that'll be
does.
interesting to see because I'm sure he lives more of a glamorous lifestyle, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, I have no idea, but I
guess we'll stay
very
tuned.
Interesting.
It is very interesting. Anyways, I posted on Instagram the other day asking people questions to ask us so you guys can get to know us a little bit better. I thought that would be really fun.
Yes,
just for people to just kind of ask us questions and you guys get to know us because I love that this is like our community here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask some of the questions that they asked me. I think I got like 100 of the same question over and over again.
What was
Everybody asks me the same question. The question is, are you going to have more kids?
Oh.
It's so interesting. And then people are asking me if, are you doing IVF? Are you planning on having more children? Are you when are they coming? And I get this question all the time, and I usually avoid the answer because, it's a very back and forth question for me. I am currently not trying to have another child. I'm not doing IVF or anything like that. If I was ready to have another kid, I probably would have another kid right now. But for some reason, I just love having my daughter so much that I am so content with just having one.
And it's getting easier now,
Oh my gosh. She's at the best age right now where it's like, do I really want to start over and have a baby when I have I'm loving every moment of being with my 4-year-old, almost 5-year-old.
It's a new world. A lot of young couples don't even want to have kids, and that's fine. I think a lot of people are still stuck. You got to have 2 or 3 kids, and you don't have to have that in this world anymore.
You're right. But there's just so much. I think I struggle a lot. I am so content with just having one. And Jared is content with just having one. We're so happy with just having Belle that we haven't even tried yet to have another child. But we are the only thing we're faced with is all this societal pressure to have another kid. Every time I post Belle on my Instagram, every single time, at least one will post and say when are you having another? Or they'll DM me when you should have another one, give her a sister, give her a brother, she needs a sibling. I'm constantly being faced with that. But then I talk to other people who are only children, and so many of them say they loved being an only child, and that makes me feel great. And then in my heart, it's I love having the time, the energy, the finances to give her the best life possible. But if I have another child, will I be able to give her my everything? And so I go back and forth so much. And right now I'm on this whole one and done train, but I hate that I'm faced with so much societal pressure to have more.
I think you do what you want to do and what's best for you and how you feel inside. And I don't think anybody should be pressured for anything.
But then I look at my life and I'm so glad that I had siblings growing up, but I also she's my little bestie.
Yes.
She really is. And it's just, I don't know, will having another one, I go back and forth so much.
You don't have to make that decision. If it happens and you decide
I'm not trying though. I'm actively trying not to have another child.
Right.
But I feel like she's getting older. She's almost 5. So if I decide to have another child, I need to decide now because the whole point of having another child in my mind would be for her to have a sibling. So but at this rate, they're not going to be close in age at all. So will they even be close? Is it even worth it to do it now?
Not all siblings are close.
Right. And that's what someone else told me. They're you might have another child and they might not get along at all. And that would stink because I was having a sibling for her. I'm happy with just having one. But so I don't know. I go back and forth so much in my head.
So what another question?
Well, wait. So she's get over this, Cher. She's we're done talking about this. Sorry to pause the podcast, but if you're loving our podcast, then you'll love our book. And we have to tell you a little about it.
Actually, we wrote this book. And it's about how we got this close and how you can too.
It's called A Bond That Lasts Forever. And basically, it goes over our life's ups and downs. It shows pictures throughout our life and has adorable quotes throughout to inspire other mothers and daughters to have their own special relationship. You can pick it up on Amazon.com, at Barnes & Nobles, or wherever you get your books. Now, let's get back to the podcast. But I don't know, this is just a question I'm asked so often, so I really wanted to address this, so many people are asking. Okay, let's see, literally there are hundreds of these. Will I return to nursing school or nursing one day, not school? Will I return to nursing one day? Maybe, you know, my husband is a plastic surgeon. So if he ever opens up his own practice, then I'm sure I'll be there helping out and getting things
wonderful
going.
at it. Yes.
Well, when I was in New York, I worked as a plastic surgery nurse. And so, not plastic surgery, excuse me, a cosmetic nurse giving Botox and injectables and all that stuff. And it was so fun. And so if Jared ever opens up another place, then I'm sure I would. But right now, I'm focused on summer break with Belle and being a very active mom right now, and running my date coaching business, which I've done for a long time. All right, wait, I'm going to go on to some of your questions, so it's not all about me right now. What do people want to know about you? Dawn, can you share your number one beauty secret?
My number one beauty secret is Retina A. I've said it on so many different podcasts
I've
of
heard
ours.
some weird things about Retina A recently. So about how it has causes cell turnover. Is it so healthy?
Oh, I totally believe in it. Of course, you can't be in the sun with it because that is a problem and that can cause problems. But I believe it's the number one ingredient to keep your skin as young and as healthy as possible.
Interesting. Okay. What rough times have you had as mother and daughter disputes?
I think the teenage years are the roughest times.
Why do you think it was the hardest for us? I'm curious your opinion because I know mine. What's yours?
I think that I worried about you going out and being with your friends, and I was worried about you sleeping at friends' houses when you wanted to go and do sleepovers because you just never know what home you're sleeping at and what really goes on behind closed doors in families, and being a little rebellious. You know, every girl and boy is in the teenage years. They want to experiment. So I think it was very difficult because I wanted to keep you safe.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense now with like, you know, in the
I used to
news
say
and
to you
everything.
that you would you'll understand me someday. I used to say you might not understand me.
You did say that.
Yeah, but you'll understand me someday. Just like in the news, was in the news this morning about the dad who from Oregon who
Drugged his
he
daughter's
actually
friends.
admitted it, and that he drugged his daughter's friends with
Terrible.
in smoothies to sexually I think molest them or whatever, abuse them. So you just never know. So I was always wanted your friends to sleep in my house because I was worried, and you didn't want them to sleep in my house because
It was
you used
never
to say
as
it's
fun.
boring.
It's
I want to go to
boring.
their house.
Because I never liked, that's part of me being like kind of more introverted. I never knew like what to do when they came over. Like, what are we going to play? What are we going to do? You know,
Right.
I felt like I always had to entertain. I always feel like that when people come over, I always feel like I have to just entertain. I have to have enough food. Do I have enough drinks? Like, do I have all this stuff? You know, so.
You always feel like you always want more and more stuff to have in
Exactly.
the house, but you don't need to, right?
But yes, I think that the teenage years were the hardest. For me, it wasn't as much about like going out, which that was very frustrating. Like you were very, very strict with like curfew and who are you with? Where are you going? And all of that. But it was also like studying and school. You were super strict with that stuff. And I personally felt too strict with like the school aspect, you know?
Well, I believe that you need to study hard when you're young, and then the rest of your life hopefully will be a little bit easier for you.
It's interesting because we did have some rough times. We were always close, but we did have some definite like arguments, and I kind of was mad at you during that time. How did we like rebuild and get closer after?
I guess I believe I never stopped talking to you and never stopped trying to explain as why I was doing what I was doing, or why I had a curfew for you. And I think the communication just kept going and going. And then you would tell me little things, and I would listen to whatever your little secrets were with your friends or whatever. And I think that's why.
Also, when you didn't, and I had a boyfriend, you like didn't like him. I think that was also hard.
That was very
But you were
hard.
thinking like I was gonna marry somebody in high
You
school.
never know. There's so many high school
Yeah.
sweethearts where they get married, so you just don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
It's very hard on a mom. It's like a fine line, and because you want to stay close, but yet you still have to wear that mom hat and say your feelings and be strict a little bit at times.
Okay, next question I'm going to ask you. It says, what is your favorite makeup tip?
My favorite makeup tip.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I guess my favorite makeup tip would be to shadow properly your face, maybe your nose.
Contouring?
The contouring.
It's so hard sometimes to contour.
It is hard to contour, but I think it makes a very big difference in your appearance, the contouring. Not overly done, of course, but I think contouring is important.
Interesting. Okay, this is for the Chattermouth one because I also posted on Chattermouth, and they say, "How do you take your coffee?" Because we are always drinking our coffee.
Love my
Love
coffee.
it. First of all, cheers to that. But we use an espresso and love our Nespresso, and then silk creamer, usually the silk vanilla, and
That's
so
all.
good.
That's all you need. I love it so much. On
Speaking
that
of
note,
it.
I'm taking a sip.
I know. It's so good. Okay, wait, let me pull up your next ones. How do you stay so fit?
Oh, well, that's a whole podcast in itself. No. I try to eat healthy. I've always heard the saying, "You are what you eat." So I really try to choose my foods wisely. It's not that I eliminate foods. If I really want something, I have it. If it's something not so good, but in a small portion. And so I watch my foods. I try to eat healthy, and I do try to exercise. I don't like it, but I do it because I feel you need to do it.
You don't like it afterwards? Aren't you happy afterwards when you do it?
I'm very happy.
It takes a lot of motivation.
But I hate it when I'm doing it, and I hate it to get to do it. But once it's over, I'm so happy. It actually gives me a good feeling, the endorphins in it.
The other day I was at my mom's house and she gave me a workout, but it was like, I feel like you make it dreadful because the room is so hot. There's no TV on. There's no like.
Well, I put the music on.
Yeah, but I could like barely hear it.
I like the music because it
to, like-
soothes me for the day.
Yeah.
And I have to do my workout in the morning because otherwise
Yeah.
I'm just too tired afterward.
No, it's good that you have the motivation to do that.
I just
know?
push myself. You have to push yourself sometimes. Mental. Use your mind to push yourself.
I feel like when you have a young child, you work out constantly because it's like,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
do.
the whole motion, it's like sweeping the floors and it's like
Yes.
picking up the child. And it's just like
Yes.
you're always running after the kid. It's like nonstop.
But
you know?
honestly, when I had all three of you,
I don't know how you did that.
I think I was a little more heavier than I am now because you end up eating their leftovers
Oh, that's all I eat.
and your food.
Uh-huh. I don't
So
really eat. I just eat their
think-
leftovers.
I think moms need to be careful of that and not eat their leftovers because even now when I'm with Belle, I'll eat her leftovers. I'll pick on her plate if she's not eating it.
Yeah.
And that's a problem for us girls. I think we have to
interesting.
not do that.
Okay, this was to both of us as well. And it says, what is something, wait, hold on. I just exited out of it. Okay. What is something you used to do, but don't do anymore?
What is something I used to do?
That don't do anymore. I'll say one. Like 2 years ago, I feel like it was really in style to make your eyebrows a lot thicker. And you love thick eyebrows. I remember about 2 years ago, thick eyebrows were so in style. And it was like the thicker the eyebrow, the better. And I look back at pictures and it did not look good. Like, why did someone say, like, this does not look right? Like, thick eyebrows. I don't know. I loved it, but it's like not as great anymore. Now it's more of just like natural, just like kind of brushed look. It's interesting how trends just change.
You know, that's why they say don't do any permanent trends because
Right.
they do change. You know, like I remember at one time you wanted to get a tattoo
Oh
on
my
your
gosh.
back. A tramp stamp.
That's what they call it. I wanted like the typical, you know, when everyone was getting like the butterfly on their lower back. And Daddy was like, yeah, go ahead, go do it. He like was fine with it, which is so weird.
he
was
did say
fine with it. Yes. He also was fine if I wanted to get like any piercing.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm so glad I didn't do that one.
Okay.
Actually, it's so interesting because I have my belly button pierced, and I don't wear it anymore. I took it out before I got pregnant and it closed up. But I remember going when I was 12 years old and they said, and remember I went to go get it. I wanted it so bad because I was always so short
You
growing up.
begged me.
I was the littlest girl. Everyone thought I was so young. And for some reason in my mind, I felt if I had my belly button pierced, people are going to think I'm older than I am. And so I begged you for it. I remember writing, you said no. And I remember writing letters, please let me have this belly button ring.
Yeah.
And Daddy was I'm fine with it, which he shouldn't do that. But he was
I
it's
know.
okay. But you were no. Finally, I convinced you when I first went to go
Yes.
get it. And the guy wouldn't do it for me because he was you're too young. You're going to grow and the belly button ring's going to move down.
Right.
So I waited 1 year and then I got it done.
Right.
And I
remember
loved
that.
it. I wore the biggest, coolest belly button rings, which
You
was
did
so
love it.
showy and too much. But now I don't even wear it anymore because it has grown down actually a lot. So
Right.
it's funny. Is there anything that you used to do and don't do anymore?
Oh my God. What did I used to do? I don't know. What did I
No?
used to do that I don't do anymore?
It's a hard one. Well, she'll keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
To be continued. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening to the Chattermouth podcast and for sending your questions. If there's any other questions that you want to know, you want us to talk about on the podcast, please send them our way. And before you go, please don't forget to leave us a review. We read all of them and they mean so much to us. Anyways, thanks for listening and we'll see you all next time. Bye.